Discover how a heartwarming encounter in a snowstorm changed the lives of a struggling mother and her children. The snow fell relentlessly that evening, painting the world in white, a thick blanket of chaos burying Emily's hopes beneath icy layers. She could see it in her children's eyes: 6-year-old Sarah's tiny hands clutching her brother's arm tightly, and 8-year-old Jackson biting his lip, trying so hard to be brave. What should have been just another long shift at the diner turned into a nightmare when her old clunker died in the middle of nowhere, the biting wind pulling them into its icy grip. As they huddled together inside the car, Emily's heart raced. The aroma of greasy burgers and fries lingered in her mind, moments lost under fluorescent lights. But now, it was just her and her kids, alone against nature's fury. With no choice, she told Sarah and Jackson to stick close as they braved the storm, her voice a feeble island amid howling winds. Each snowflake felt like an icy dagger against her skin, a sharp contrast to the warmth she felt when serving customers at the diner. They trudged through the snow, their breaths visible in the freezing air. Hope flickered like a lit candle when they spotted the flickering light from Bill's house next door, barely breaking through the storm's chaos. Bill was a retired veteran, known in the town for his kindness but also for the shadows of his past mistakes that lingered over him. With hesitant hands, Emily knocked on his door, her heart pounding. Would they find warmth or judgment? When the door creaked open, Bill's surprised face softened. "Come in, come in," he boomed, pulling them inside. The comfort of his home wrapped around them like a warm hug, the rich smell of beef stew wafting through the air, but the initial relief quickly came with tension. As they all sat together, Emily couldn't shake the feeling of discomfort. Two worlds collided in that small room. The heat rising from the kitchen felt foreign, mocking the chill that had seeped into their bones. With each sip of hot cocoa, Emily listened to Bill's gruff stories of his past, his voice cracking as he shared tales that mirrored her struggles, hardships, loss, and moments of utter despair. The more they talked, the deeper the divide felt. With each revelation, Emily's defenses rose, battling her fear that she might not be able to navigate the waters of this friendship. Just as the storm outside became a wild cacophony past the insulated walls, tensions flared inside, and a fight erupted, their truths clashing like thunder over politics, privileges, perceptions. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Emily's chest tightened, tearing her away from the moment. Could she ever forgive the past mistakes of a man who seemed so different from her? Could this strange connection weather the storm? As dawn broke on the horizon, warmth from Bill's home intertwined with the icy despair outside. The flickering embers of understanding glowed brighter as silence filled the room, leaving Emily with a lingering question: was this unlikely meeting a turning point not just for her and her children but for the entire community? Would they grasp the strength lying within shared struggles, able to mend the fabric of their lives, torn by judgment? The silence in the room hung heavy like the snow outside, each breath shared between them a fragile thread woven into something new. Emily shifted uneasily, eyeing the half-finished mugs of cocoa on the table. They were warm, comforting, but not nearly enough to thaw the chill of unease skittering through her heart. Bill cleared his throat, breaking the silence. "I'm sorry about earlier. Guess I let my past get the best of me." His voice had softened, tinged with sincerity. Emily could see the regret lining the corners of his eyes, misty like the breath that escaped his lips. "I don't mean to judge you," Emily replied, her heart racing. It's hard to know who to trust, especially when you've been hurt before." The admission spilled from her lips, raw and unfiltered. She sighed, feeling the weight of vulnerability settle over her like a warm blanket. It was a small step, but a step nonetheless. Jackson, eager to bridge any gap with the grown-ups, piped up. "Bill, do you have any toys? We're kind of bored." His innocent question cracked the tension like a glass under pressure. Bill chuckled, the sound shaking the room. "As a matter of fact, I do. Follow me." He lumbered to the back of the house, leaving Emily and Sarah sharing an anxious glance. There was a flicker of hope in Sarah's eyes, her little hands clasping together as if to hold on to the promise of something beyond this storm. When Bill returned, arms full of worn books and a few ragged toys that had seen better days, Emily felt a wave of gratitude wash over her. Here was a man, battling his own ghosts, showing kindness where she had expected distance. It was disarming, this act of generosity. "Let us play a game," Bill suggested, his gruff exterior softening further. As they settled around the small coffee table, laughter spilled through the air, mingling with the fading sounds of the storm outside. The tension from earlier began to thaw, each shared chuckle replacing unease with connection. "You know," Bill said, watching Jackson spin a toy car, "there was a time when I wanted to give up on everything. But it was the community that helped me back up." In the slants of his voice, Emily recognized a kinship. Perhaps they were not so different after all. As the evening progressed, stories flowed freely. Bill's life tales of hardship mingled with Emily's, both woven together by tenacity and an understanding deeper than words. They were two souls, searching for light amidst the darkness, finding it together in the realization they were not alone. But even as laughter filled the air, Emily felt the tightening in her chest once more. What did all this mean for her and the kids? She had always prided herself on being self-reliant, angel of her own little household. The thought of depending on someone else felt foreign, like stepping into a snowdrift and losing her footing. Bill, noticing her quiet resolve falter, gave her a cautious look. "You're tougher than you know, Emily. But you don't have to face everything alone." His words hung in the air, wrapping tightly around her heart like a lifeline while also sending waves of fear through her. "Maybe I want to," she shot back, more defensively than intended. A brief silence fell, echoes of her rawness hanging before them. Could she let that vulnerability in? Could she trust him enough to lean on him? As dawn's golden light broke through the stormy night, a fresh layer of snow sparkled outside. But inside, the warmth of possibilities felt electric, exciting, yet frightening all the same. Emily looked at her children, who were now lost in their joyful play, oblivious to the deeper conversation surrounding them. In that moment, she understood, rebuilding would require courage, not just for her but for all of them. Would she find the bravery to embrace this budding friendship? And could it lead them to a better life, stitching together the wounds of their pasts? Emily inhaled deeply, glancing back at Bill. What lay ahead felt uncertain, yet an unexpected hope flickered within her. Perhaps they could create something beautiful out of this storm. But would they take the leap together, or allow the shadows of doubt to freeze their hearts once again? Emily watched as Jackson and Sarah immersed themselves in play, the rough sounds of toys colliding and laughter bubbling up, grounding her in that moment. It was as if their joy poured warmth into the chilled corners of the room, dispelling the lingering doubts she held about allowing Bill into their lives. Bill's presence felt different now, less a looming figure weighed down by his past, and more like a person on his journey, too. She noticed the way he knelt close to Jackson, sharing in his enthusiasm for a greasy toy truck that had seen better days. Each smile that crossed his face nudged at the walls Emily had built around her heart. "What do you think of my racing car?" Jackson proudly asked Bill, his eyes shimmering wide with excitement. Bill gave a mock-serious nod. "Fastest thing I've seen on this side of town. We should have a race." "Yeah!" shouted Sarah, her voice bursting with energy. "Let us race to the door." Emily chuckled at their enthusiasm, briefly escaping the whirlpool of her thoughts. She was safe in this bubble of happiness, but fear still throbbed just beneath the surface. Could this really be the start of something, or was it a silly distraction from reality? As laughter filled the room, a question began to form in the recesses of Emily's mind. What if she opened up to Bill? What would that mean? "Hey, Bill," she said, testing the waters, what do you miss most about your old life? For a moment, he was silent, his gaze drifting towards the window, where flakes danced gracefully to the ground. I miss the simplicity. There was a time when I didn't worry about the past creeping up on me. Family dinners, laughter, things felt normal. Normal, Emily echoed, a wistful smile tugging at her lips. Did normal exist for her anymore? Had it ever truly existed? Bill turned his gaze back to her, the weight of his words hanging between them like a bridge. Normal can be rebuilt, Emily. You have to believe it can be, he said softly. Emily felt a spark at his proposal, a flicker of something that had long since dimmed a kindling of hope. You really think so? No doubt about it. It takes time and trust, he replied with an earnestness that tugged at her heart. What I learned through my struggles. It was never about going back to how things were. It was about moving forward, together. Together. The word resonated within her chest. Could she allow herself to embrace this idea? The apprehensive glance she cast at her children urged her onward. They deserved better, and perhaps, so did she. Okay, then, she said, her voice wavering slightly. Let us explore this together. I don't want to close the door on you. Just, take it slowly. Bill nodded, a grateful smile spreading across his face. Slow is good. I'll be here. With that, the tension in the air seemed to shift, a hint of a shared understanding blossomed between them. In this fragile moment, Emily realized the importance of letting down her guard not just for herself, but for Jackson and Sarah too. As the afternoon sun streamed through the window, casting a warm glow across their little corner, Emily felt a lightness she hadn't expected, as if the storm outside was slowly letting up, but just as hope began to flourish, a knock at the door shattered the cozy cocoon. Emily's heart thudded as she exchanged wary glances with Bill. Who could that be? She whispered, uncertainty creeping in. The children paused, curiosity glimmering in their eyes. Emily could feel her chest tighten once more. With their newfound bond delicate and fragile, the door before them much like her heart held a world of possibilities. And something told her that whatever was waiting on the other side could change everything. Who was standing there? And would it threaten the new beginning they were just starting to embrace? The knock echoed through the room like a clap of thunder, jolting Emily from the warmth of her thoughts. A shiver danced down her spine, and she glanced at Bill, who wore a mask of uncertainty mingled with curiosity. Should I get it? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper. The children were still, their excitement evaporating into the air, replaced by the weight of the unknown. Let me, Bill replied, his tone steady as he rose from the floor. The way he stood taller now brought a sense of security that Emily hadn't realized she was craving. She watched him approach the door, each step intentional, as if he were walking the tightrope of her trust. As he unlocked the door and pulled it open, Emily felt her heart race. The wind howled outside, swirling snowflakes like miniature dancers caught in a whirlwind. In the doorway stood a figure, huddled in a thick, weather-beaten coat, snow clinging stubbornly to the edges. Are you all right? Bill asked, his voice softening as he took in the sight before him. Emily moved closer, peeking over his shoulder. The stranger's breath came out in frosty puffs, and as they stepped into the light, she could see a young woman, her cheeks flushed pink from the cold. Sorry to intrude, the woman said, shivering slightly. I got caught in the storm. My car won't start, and I thought I'd try to find help nearby. Emily's instinct was to be guarded, but looking at the stranger's wide, hopeful eyes, a spark of compassion ignited inside her. Of course. Please, come in, she said, stepping back to allow the woman to enter. As the door closed behind her, their cozy warmth enveloped the newcomer, easing the tension in the air. Thank you so much, the woman said as she gratefully rubbed her hands together, trying to regain warmth. I'm Sarah. Emily, she introduced herself, her heart softening further. Jackson and Sarah, the children, peered from behind Emily, eyes glowing with a new fascination. What's wrong with your car? Jackson asked, his innocent curiosity breaking the ice. My battery died, I think, Sarah replied, a nervous smile creeping onto her face. Would you believe I just got stuck behind the wheel, listening to the radio, thinking about how nice it would be to have coffee somewhere warm? Coffee. Sarah chirped, eyes lighting up at the idea. Can we have coffee, Mommy? Emily exchanged a glance with Bill. He nodded, his expression open. How could she say no? Sure, let us all have some hot chocolate instead. As the laughter bubbled up again, Emily felt a warmth spreading in the room. Perhaps this unexpected visitor could lead to something beautiful, a shared moment among strangers. Bill moved toward the kitchen, filling mugs with steaming cocoa, while the children bubbled over with the chatter of anticipation, but as Emily glanced at Sarah, a flicker of recognition crossed her mind. The woman reminded her of someone from a time that felt distant and hazy. Do I know you? Emily asked curiously. Sarah's smile faltered for a moment. You might, but I'm not sure. I used to live here when my family was going through some tough times, right before we had to move. A wave of emotions washed over Emily, memories of loss and upheaval flooding back. This small connection felt like a thread pulling at her heart. Could this encounter mend something within her? Before she could process it, a revelation struck. Might this intertwining of lives mean something more significant, beyond just shelter from the storm? The atmosphere swirled with possibility. But as Emily found herself drawn to this new thread of fate, a hidden fear nestled deep within her. Would this stranger bring comfort, or would the past resurface, sparking old wounds? As the warmth of connection ignited in their little home, the knock of destiny rang clear. Something stirred, waiting just beyond the door. What other surprises lay ahead? And at what cost would they come? Emily's gaze lingered on Sarah, her mind racing with thoughts of the past. The laughter from the kids faded into the background as she grappled with the familiarity of the woman in front of her. There was something both comforting and unsettling about their unexpected reunion. She felt like a child peering into a forgotten treasure chest full of memories that hadn't been touched in years. Returning with steaming mugs in hand, Bill interrupted her reverie. Okay, hot chocolate is served, he announced, a bright smile stretching across his face. The warmth radiated not just from the mugs but also from the bond forming before them. Jeremy and Jackson scooted closer to Sarah, their eyes wide with anticipation. Can you tell us another story? Jackson asked, excitement bubbling in his voice. Sarah laughed, a genuine sound that filled the room with warmth. What kind of story do you want? About how you got stuck in the snow. Jeremy chimed in, his excitement bubbling. The adults laughed and soon found themselves drawn into the children's infectious joy. The once heavy atmosphere of uncertainty started to lift, washing over them like gentle waves, creating space for connection. As Sarah recounted her unfortunate adventure, Emily felt her heart swell. This stranger, once a specter from her past, was weaving a new tapestry of experiences in her home. She watched as Bill gently nudged Jeremy's shoulder, their shared laughter blending seamlessly into the fabric of that moment, yet as the warmth enveloped them, a nagging doubt lingered in the corners of Emily's mind. She couldn't ignore the unease blossoming within her. Would she be able to trust Sarah, or would the past claw its way back into her life? After some time, Bill excused himself to check on their fire, leaving Emily and Sarah alone with the children. The chatter continued, but as the air cooled slightly with the fading flames, the tension returned. Emily, Sarah said softly, I really appreciate this. You have no idea how much it means to me. Her eyes, once bright with the spark of the unexpected, now glimmered with sincerity and gratitude. Emily felt a knot tighten in her chest. Thank you for coming here. But she hesitated. Is there more to this visit than just a warm mug for you? Sarah's gaze dropped, and in that brief silence, Emily sensed a surge of unresolved emotions. I've been trying to put my life back together, she finally admitted, her voice trembling slightly. Coming back here, it felt like a step towards healing. But I didn't know it would lead me back to you. Emily's heart ached at the weight of those words. She had her own scars, places within that still stung from years past. "Maybe you can help each other," she whispered, hope battling apprehension. Suddenly, another frantic knock resounded through the room. Bill turned towards the door, his own expression shifting into immediate concern. Emily's heart raced. What if answering the door brought with it more burdens? Who could that be? She wondered aloud, anxiety coiling tightly in her gut as she glanced back at Sarah, who wore a look of uncertainty. Bill's eyes narrowed as he approached the door once again, suspicion creeping into their peaceful gathering. Dread settled like an unwelcome guest inside her heart. What would happen now? Would they face yet another surprise, or would this intrusion lead to something more profound in a moment that could change everything? As Emily's pulse quickened, she realized that the answer awaited them, hidden just beyond the door, a further twist in the journey they never asked for but desperately needed. Emily glanced at Sarah, her heart thumping in her chest, anticipation hanging in the air like charged electricity. The knock came again, sharper this time, sending a ripple of unease through the room. She couldn't shake the feeling that whatever was waiting beyond that door might shatter the fragile connection they were just beginning to forge. Bill opened the door slowly, revealing a figure wrapped in a thick coat, snowflakes clinging to the edges of his dark hat. The moment he stepped inside, a gust of cold air accompanied him, and Emily shivered, drawing her arms tighter around herself. "Sam?" Bill exclaimed, the surprise evident in his voice. It took Emily a moment to process the name. Sam, an old friend of Bill's from high school, a man once filled with promise, now seemingly burdened by life's harsher realities. She saw the way Bill's expression shifted from surprise to concern. Sam's cheeks were red from the cold, and his eyes, there was something in them that spoke of weariness, of struggles hidden beneath the surface. "Hey, Bill. Sorry to drop in unexpectedly," Sam said, his voice almost fading away as he stepped inside, shaking off the snow like a dog after a swim. "Emily, this is Sam. We go way back," Bill introduced, his voice trailing off into the uncertainty that gripped the air. "Nice to meet you," Emily said, forcing a smile even though her pulse continued to race. She glanced at Sarah, whose confusion mirrored her own. Is everything okay?" Bill asked then, clearly sensing the tension clouding the otherwise warm atmosphere. Sam hesitated. "Things have been difficult," he admitted. There was that weight again, pressing down as he spoke. "My mom took a fall last week. She's in the hospital, and I don't know how to handle it all." Emily could see the effort it took for him to keep his voice steady. Instinctively, she felt the ache for him, understanding how life could suddenly shift gears, leaving one gasping for breath amid an unforeseen storm. "Do you need any help?" She found herself asking, her compassion nudging her forward. This was a moment, she realized, where connection could be formed, healing could begin. Sam looked at her, surprised. "Thanks, but I don't want to be a burden." "Actually, we love helping out around here," Bill said, stepping closer, a supportive presence. "What do you need?" "We're here." A flicker of gratitude brushed across Sam's features, but it was quickly replaced by a deep-seated insecurity that Emily recognized, like a dark cloud hovering over his spirit. "It's just she's been my rock. I don't know how to do this without her. I don't think I can be strong for her like she was for me." His voice cracked, revealing the vulnerability hidden behind his walls. As Emily stood there, she thought of Sarah and her own journey of healing. Here was another person in need, craving connection, just as they were. "Sam," she said gently, "no one said you have to do this alone. We've all faced our own storms, and sometimes it's okay to lean on someone else for strength." Something shifted in the air, the softness of her words wrapping around him like a comfort blanket. The sound of the kids laughing in the background felt distant yet relaxing, a reminder of what the world could still offer. The moment hung there, heavy with shared struggles and human resilience. Sam didn't reply right away. Instead, he pressed his lips together and seemed to weigh her words. Just then, a loud crash from outside startled them all, followed by the panicked barking of a neighbor's dog. Emily's heart skipped. What now? Was their tranquility about to be shattered once more? As a flurry of questions swirled in her mind, Emily couldn't help but wonder if this wasn't just a moment of connection, but the start of an unexpected journey, one that could bring both transformation and deeper understanding. Now, with a storm brewing both inside and outside, she held her breath, expecting that whatever unfolded next would test their newfound links in ways they couldn't yet imagine. What was waiting for them outside the safety of their walls, and how would it change them forever? The commotion outside increased, the air charged with tension. Emily exchanged glances with Bill and Sarah, a collective silence thickening around them as the noise outside begged for attention. Should we check? Bill asked, glancing toward the door, his voice barely a whisper as if he feared breaking the fragile moment they were sharing with Sam. Maybe it's just the wind, Sarah replied, fidgeting with her sleeves. But Emily could see the need for action in her friend's eyes. They all sensed something more was stirring just beyond the threshold. I'll take a look, Sam said, his expression a mix of determination and trepidation. Emily admired him for trying to shake off the weight that clung to him like the winter frost. Bill nodded. Just be careful. Sam stepped outside, and the door swung closed, momentarily cutting him off from the warmth they shared. The room felt colder in his absence, the laughter of the children muted by the uncertainty sprawled before them. Do you think he's okay? Emily asked, her heart pounding again, but this time with concern for someone she barely knew. He'll be fine. He always figures things out, Bill replied, but there was an edge to his voice. Just as they began to settle into the silence, Sam burst back through the door, his breath visible in the chilled air. It's a tree. A branch fell on the power line across the street. The neighbor's dog was barking because of the sparks. I think the power might go out soon. Panic flickered in Emily's chest. The world outside felt chaotic. She reached for Sarah's hand. Do we have flashlights? Bill quickly moved to a drawer, rifling through it. I think so, just a second. Something about the urgency in the air felt familiar to Emily. It reminded her of her own struggles, how one moment could change the landscape of life entirely. The connection with Sam took on new layers. It wasn't just about helping with his mother anymore. It was about being there for each other in the unknown. Sam, she called out, her voice steady despite the rising tension. You don't have to face this alone either. If the lights go out, we can all wait it out together, make it a little less scary. He nodded, a semblance of gratitude flickering across his face, but pain still lingered in his eyes. Thanks, Emily. I just keep thinking I should be tougher, you know? My mom always said I was the strong one. Strength isn't always about being tough, she replied, her grip on Sarah's hand tightening. Sometimes it's about sharing burdens, letting others in. It's okay to show weakness. Bill returned with a few flashlights, their beams dancing across the walls like fireflies. Here we go. We'll light up this place and make it a cozy little fortress. Just then, the power flickered, then dimmed, plunging the room into near darkness. Their laughter faded into gasps, quickly replaced by the raspy breathing of surprise. Outside, the wind howled, pulling more snow from the sky, creating a soft blanket that silently covered the world. Okay, let's stay close, Bill said, his voice calm despite the growing storm outside. We're going to be just fine. Emily felt warmth from him, the kind that seemed to anchor them all together. In that moment, she knew what they faced was more than just a power outage. It was an opportunity, a chance to stand together amidst uncertainty, to forge new connections through shared vulnerability. Suddenly, the door opened again, and a figure wrapped in dark cloth appeared, shaking snow from their shoulders. Did I miss the flashlight party? A voice teased playfully before revealing itself that it was Leah, Sam's sister. Her eyes widened as she took in their small gathering. I thought I'd find you here. You weren't answering your phone. As flickers of tension transformed into laughter, Emily couldn't shake the feeling that Leah's unexpected arrival would bring more than just light into the room. What revelations lay hidden within them? Would they find the strength to face not only the storm outside, but the storms within? The air crackled with unspoken promises, and Emily realized this wasn't merely an evening in a snowstorm. It was the start of something much bigger than any of them had anticipated. Because for every storm that came, a chance for healing and renewal followed, and she was about to learn what it truly meant to come together. But little did she know, a simple piece of news would change everything for them all. The air in the room shifted as Leah laughed, shaking off the remnants of the cold. That sound acted like a balm on the anxiety that hung in the corners. Sam moved towards her, his eyes softening. "You made it back just in time. Things are about to get interesting," he replied, a hint of relief washing over him. "Interesting how?" Leah teased, but there was a slight tremor in her voice. The flickering flashlight beams painted shadows that danced across her face, nervousness mingling with curiosity. "We might be losing power soon," Sarah explained, her grip still clenched on Emily's hand. Emily studied Leah, noticing the weariness etched into her features. She knew what it meant to feel weighed down by life's challenges. "Did you get stuck in the snow?" Sam asked, his concern evident. The bond between them, siblings navigating life's rough waters, was palpable. Leah shook her head. "No. Just took my time. I didn't want to worry you." She drew in a breath. "But I heard from Mom on the way. I think she's had a rough day." The warmth in the room thinned, a soft sort of despair creeping in. Emily's heart tightened. It was evident that Leah carried a burden dear to her, one that echoed the weight Sam bore. Sam nodded slowly, as if processing the unspoken words, the honest worry in Leah's eyes. "I'm sorry to hear that. Is she okay?" he asked, the protective older brother in him surfacing. Leah hesitated. "She's just feeling low. You know how it can be." Sarah furrowed her brow, leaning in, her voice gentle. "Does she need anything? We could help out." The door creaked, making everyone jump a little. Bill stepped closer to Leah, seeking to comfort her while also keeping an eye on the gathering storm outside. "Let us not forget our cozy fortress. We can get through this together." "Together," Sam echoed softly, looking at each of them in turn. A silent understanding hung in the air. It was mutual, a promise each one made to the others. Just as the lights flickered again, plunging the room into darkness, Leah spoke. "What if we organized a day for Mom? Just us, with everything she loves. Maybe take her some dinner? It could help." Emily felt a warmth blooming in her chest. The thought of coming together not just for themselves, but for someone else in need, ignited something deep within. "That's a great idea. We can brainstorm, figure out how to make it special." Instead of the fear of the storm raging outside, excitement replaced it, the promise of connection blossoming. Suddenly, there was a sharp pop, followed by silence. A moment later, the flashlight beams flickered out as darkness enveloped them completely. Emily's heart raced. She could feel the uneasiness creep back in, but this time, it was mixed with a jolt of adrenaline. "Bill, can you get the lanterns?" Leah asked, her voice sharp yet steady. "On it," he replied, already moving toward the kitchen. In the dark, Emily felt a push of solidarity. Sam's presence was solid, a grounding force. Even without the light, there was something undeniably bright about their shared determination. And as each moment passed, the bonds between them deepened. Then came the gentle laughter of children outside, puncturing through the silence, blending with the wind. It was a reminder that joy could flourish amidst chaos. After a few moments, Bill returned, illuminating the room with soft light. They gathered around the table, and Emily could see the spark in each face. "What did I miss?" Bill asked, his eyes sparkling. "I think we're planning a mini surprise for Mom," Leah said, her voice alone brimming with warmth. Outside, the snow continued to fall, blanketing the world in a soft hush. In that flickering light, the tempo of their hearts aligned. Whatever storms they faced, they would face together. And just as they began to discuss details, Emily noticed the shadows dancing in the corners again. There was something underlining Leah's earlier words, a hidden heaviness yet to be discovered. What had truly unfolded for their mother? Would this gathering offer more than just comfort? As Emily looked into Leah's eyes, she couldn't shake the feeling that the upcoming days would bring unexpected challenges and profound revelations. Suddenly, a louder crack echoed from outside, and all their heads turned toward the window, hearts racing with anxiety. What was that? Sam gasped. The darkness outside felt suddenly overwhelming. Emily knew that the night was only beginning, and they had yet to uncover the layers of each other's struggles. What lay ahead? The room held its breath as everyone glanced toward the window, the ominous sound echoing in their minds. That crack, like a distant thunderclap, sent shivers down Emily's spine. Her heart raced not just from fear, but an aching curiosity about what they might discover next. "Leah, what was that?" Sarah whispered, the innocent fear threading through her voice. Leah moved closer to the window, peering through the curtain. "I don't know. But whatever it is, I hope it's nothing dangerous." Her voice was steady, but Emily could see the flicker of uncertainty in her eyes. Bill, sensing the tension rising, took a step back, his fingers brushing against the lantern. "Maybe it's just the storm messing with the trees," he offered, though the tightness in his voice betrayed his own unease. Something zipped past just outside the window. A brighter flash than the flicker of the lantern. "Did you see that?" Emily exclaimed, her words catching in her throat. "I don't think we should go outside," Sam said, his protective instincts kicking in. "If it's bad out there we can't just stay in here, wondering," Leah interrupted. Her determination rang clear and deep, cutting through the darkness like a knife. Emily admired that spark. It was one of those moments where Leah's strength was revealed, even under layers of vulnerability. "Well, we can't ignore it. We need to know." Emily found herself feeling emboldened. What if it's someone who needs help? This storm. Sam glanced at Leah, concern etched in his features. "All right, but we go together." The siblings nodded, a silent agreement forming. Whatever lay beyond those walls, they would face it as a unit. The lantern flickered, casting a fragile glow around the table as they grabbed their winter coats and boots. Outside, the world was darkened by a heavy snow, the wind whipping around with a ferocity that seemed almost alive. They pulled on their coats tightly, huddling against the cold. As they stepped outside, the biting wind hit them, swirling flakes obscuring everything beyond a few feet. They leaned into the storm, moving in the direction of the sound. Their hearts pounded, both from the chill and the adrenaline of what they might find. "Keep close," Sam called, and they formed a tight cluster, pushing through the snow that quickly piled around their ankles. Then, suddenly, there it was, a shadowy figure in the distance, partially hidden beneath a thick blanket of snow. Emily's heart dropped. What if it was someone hurt? "Hello!" Leah shouted, her voice carrying against the howling wind. The figure stirred and turned, revealing a small child, looking up with wide, frightened eyes. Relief washed over Emily, but it was quickly replaced by concern. "Oh my gosh," Sarah exclaimed, rushing forward. "Are you all right?" The child nodded slowly, shivering. "I got lost, my mom." Their breath puffed into the freezing air, the sound of anguish hidden just beneath the surface. "Where is she?" "We can help." Emily felt a wave of protectiveness rush through her, almost overwhelming. I don't know. I was just playing," and now the child's voice trembled, and it broke something within Emily. Leah crouched down, meeting the child's gaze. "Hey, it's okay. We'll find her. We just need to stick together." As they stood there, huddling against the storm and embracing the child, the enormity of the situation sank in. Not only were they braving the storm for their own family, but they were about to open their arms to someone else in need, diving into an uncertainty that could ripple outwards with consequences they hadn't anticipated. "What if we can't find her?" Sam murmured, anxiously looking around. The shadows and snow created an eerie feeling, mirroring his doubts. "Then we'll keep looking," Leah replied firmly. With renewed determination, they set off again, the four of them moving through the snow, hearts beating strong against the cold, the warmth of their unity growing brighter amidst the blizzard. But as they ventured deeper into the storm, Emily felt that heaviness again. What if this child's mother experienced even greater struggles than they had imagined? What stories lay hidden beneath the layers of snow? The night was still young, but the weight of the unknown loomed larger. Together, they faced the thoughts unspoken, the fears unearthed, and what might happen when they uncovered the truth, a truth that could forever change the lives of everyone involved. As they pressed on through the storm, a new question filled Emily's mind: what awaited them at the edge of this snow-drenched night? The storm swirled around them, a chaotic dance of snowflakes and wind, yet the warmth of their shared determination held them together. With the little girl nestled between them, they braved onward, stepping deeper into the unknown. Each crunch of snow underfoot echoed their hearts, pounding in unison, fueled by hope and resolve. "Can you tell us your name?" Leah asked gently, crouching to meet the child's gaze, her voice a calming balm amid the raging storm. "Lily," the girl whispered, her small voice barely audible over the wind. I wandered too far. My mom told me to stay close. I'm scared." Emily felt her heart ache for this child so tiny and lost. "It's okay, Lily. We're here now. We'll find your mom together." "What does she look like?" Lily's face brightened with a flicker of hope through the fear. "She has long hair, and she wears a blue scarf." "Blue scarf, got it," Sam said, determination blazing in his eyes. "Just stick with us, okay? We won't let anything happen to you." The group pressed deeper into the swirling snow, visions of Lily's mother flashing in their minds. Emily took a deep breath, feeling the weight of their mission settle over her like a cozy blanket. They were no longer just facing their own fears, they were fighting for someone else, gathering strength from the community spirit that guided them. "Mom!" Lily called out suddenly, voice breaking through the wind's howls. "Lily! Where are you?" A voice echoed back, distant but clear. It sparked something inside Emily, igniting a fire of purpose. "This way," she urged, feeling a rush of adrenaline propel them forward. They ran through the snowy landscape, every fiber of their being pushing against fatigue and cold. It didn't take long before they spotted a woman frantically scanning the tumultuous night. Her blue scarf flapped desperately in the wind. Relief washed over Emily and the others as they hurried towards her. "Mom!" Lily cried, darting forward. The moment the girl was enveloped in her mother's embrace, tears streamed down both their faces, joy and relief blending with the cold, harsh air. "Thank you. Thank you," the mother exclaimed, clutching her daughter tightly while glancing around at the newcomers with a mix of gratitude and concern. "I thought I'd lost her." "You've got her back now," Bill said softly, stepping forward. "That's what counts." The intense emotional exchange warmed everyone more than any fire could. Emily felt her chest swell with pride. In that moment, they stood together, strangers united by a shared purpose, forming bonds beyond their individual stories. The connection formed in a snowstorm felt like a fleeting miracle, transformative and powerful. "What's your name?" Emily asked the mother, her voice brightening the heavy atmosphere. "Julia," she replied through tears, glancing lovingly at Lily. "I can't thank you enough for finding her." As the wind howled around them, Emily could suddenly see their struggles reflected back at her. Julia had fought her own storms just like they had. They all held scars, but here they stood, testaments of resilience. "Let us get you both inside," Sam offered, the warmth of his voice inviting. Julia nodded gratefully, wrapping her daughter in her coat. I had no idea what I was going to do. Thank you all for your kindness. Kindness is what makes us strong, Emily replied, her voice steady with newfound conviction. They turned to head back, debriefing the whirlwind adventure into a shared warmth that wrapped around them like the softest embrace. Inside, once again enveloped by Bill's welcoming home, they all congregated around the fire, laughter bubbling again. Hot cocoa was served, and stories poured like melted snow. This wasn't just a night to share, it was a gathering of hearts learning to heal. Emily felt bonds strengthening, unseen threads tying them closer as they spoke of dreams, struggles, and hopes. Sam and Leah spoke freely, sharing their mother's situation but also reminding each other that together, they were mighty even against life's unexpected storms. As the laughter echoed, Emily looked around at her children. Losing themselves in joy, Ivy reuniting with her mother, Bill's warm smile, Sam's reassuring presence, and Leah's contagious spirit. It was a mosaic of connections, a snapshot of resilience binding them in a community that had weathered storms together, always rising stronger each time. This, Emily thought, her heart full, is what it means to belong. As the night drew on, snow piled high outside, but within, they cultivated warmth that transcended mere comfort. They were knitting together new beginnings. With each interchange, Emily grasped the truth. Healing was indeed possible in both her life and Julia's through shared struggles and acts of kindness. Struggles might arise again, but as long as they faced them together, they defined hope in the warmth. She felt a radiant smile play upon her lips, aware that transformation was not just about overcoming hardship, it was about fortifying the ties that unite us all, a family chosen in the heart of a snowstorm. So here's the call to action. You need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and express the love for these impactful stories. Comment below your reaction, your feelings about this heartwarming ending. And don't wait not even one more second to share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to feel this transformative power of connection. Your support builds this community.